Heya! Tom from rWiiHacks here. In today's video, we'll briefly look at what SD cards you can use with your Wii. This video will not focus on what you need specifically, but give you a general idea of what will work on your Wii, and what will not. We'll also briefly touch on what to do if things go wrong. So let's get started. First question you might be asking yourself is, do I need an SD card? The short answer is no, but you really should have an SD card. There's many things that won't work from or with a USB device. And unless your goal is to only play Wii or GameCube games from USB, then sure, fine. I know not everyone can afford them, but you can find old school SD cards for dirt cheap, new or used. You might know someone with one laying around they might just give you. What cards does the Wii support? Here's what Nintendo has to say. While it's possible to use SD standard or SDHC standard based cards, we cannot guarantee that products other than licensed SD cards will work. Which is fair enough. They're saying that if they haven't tested it, good luck to you, sir, not their problem. If you're running pre-4.0, your Wii will have limited compatibility with SD cards. I've personally never encountered an SD that worked in my PC that didn't also work in my Wii. We've had confirmations of greater than 200 GB cards working. I used an old 32 GB left over from a last generation cell phone for years before upgrading to a larger card. Do mini or micro SD cards work? The slot for the Wii is a standard SD card slot. If you have an adapter, there should be no reason why either a mini or a micro wouldn't work in a Wii. I've personally never seen a mini SD, but my 32 gig I just mentioned is a micro SD in an adapter. I haven't used a non-micro SD since my original 512 MB card that I bought with my Wii in 2007. What size card would I need? That really depends on how deep into modding your Wii you're willing to go. If you are only planning on putting basic modding homebrew, a 2 GB card should be more than enough. But if you plan on delving into emulators, well, let's just say the ScumVM library alone will fill my 32 gigger twice over. And the more recent an emulator gets, the larger the game files for it gets. Does the Wii prefer any brand over another? Not at all. My sincerest recommendation is to obtain what your budget can afford, and stick with brands that don't have a bad or unknown reputation. How about SDHC, SDXC, SDUC, etc.? I'm fairly certain the Wii doesn't officially support anything past SDHC with the 4.0 system menu or higher. Unofficially, above SDHC tends to be backwards compatible and almost always works with no issues. My SD card isn't working, so now what? Unfortunately, the Wii is old enough to where you can probably expect to find SD cards that will not work with it. The list of things you can try to figure out whether or not it's going to work are very limited. Make sure the Write Protect switch on the SD card hasn't been enabled. If you can't write to it, you can hardly use it properly. Make sure any SD card you put in your Wii is formatted to FAT32. Your Wii won't read exFAT or NTFS formatted SDs. In newer versions of Windows, the simple format tool that is included with it will no longer allow you to do so if your SD is 32 GB or more. So it's best to format your SD card with a third-party utility. Last thing you can try is another SD card. If every other SD card works, but the one you intend to use, that's a fairly surefire sign that the card is your issue. If you have to purchase hardware for your Wii, I have a quick buyer's warning. Make sure you research any seller on any platform before you purchase something off the internet. And try and research the product as best as you can. Ask for help if you can from an active community, and hopefully someone you trust. And there's little risk if the place you buy from has a good return policy. If I were to summarize everything we just went over, the Wii needs to be on System Menu 4.0 or higher to recognize SDHC or larger SD cards. That's regardless of size or type of the SD, most if not all should work. Be careful when buying stuff for your Wii off the internet. Check your SD card's Write Protect lock. If your Wii can't write to it, it'll have issues using it. And that's our advice for using an SD card with your Wii. If you have any additional questions, please leave them down below in the comments, or come ask about them in our Discord. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notifications to hear when we come out with new stuff. Helpful links to everything are in the description. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you again. Are we done?